Okay, so today I am picking up a Mack truck. A lot of times I pick these trucks up and they have a fifth wheel on the back. And there's one over here. This red one has a fifth wheel on the back. This one here is just going to be what they call a cab and chassis. And I thought I'd make a video on some of the things that you really need to look out for when you're hooking up your vehicle to one of these trucks. So, of course, after you pre-trip and everything works, then you start doing your setup. So me, I have to take 30 minutes. It costs time, I get it, but it could save lives and save you from having a ticket. So this is some of the things that I see on these particular units. So they band strap these things on here, and they move around a lot. Okay, I don't trust that this thing's not going to fall off. It's not attached to the frame, it's just sandwiched to the frame. Okay, so I carry C-clamps. Sometimes it's just this, not this. So I carry a C-clamp so I can clamp down on these. This is actually too thick for my C-clamps, so these are called Welders vice grips used for welding, so they can hold two pieces of metal together and reach up and over angle iron and stuff, so they're very handy. And you open up really wide, and I can get down here, and then I can get on this bottom one and get on the top one, tighten it down and clamp it down. So now this is really tight. Then to keep it from popping open while I drive down the road, which they tend to do, I tape the handle closed with some black electrical tape real quick. Then I wire the device to the truck. Let's say this thing does pop open for whatever reason. It's going to fall down. It's going to be in the road. It's going to hit somebody's windshield, maybe hurt somebody, maybe cause an accident. You want to have this thing tethered on here, okay? It sounds like some people are like, oh, you don't need to do that. And those are the people that lose their tools. So I have over here also, same thing, clamp down. I've got it wired in. I got it taped down. And so now this thing is super solid. It isn't moving anywhere. All right, then what I do is these mud flaps are very chintzy put on. Look, they just use these, what they call braid nails or staples, and they put these on as you drive down the road. These things waggle, waggle, waggle. And that's a new term I'm going to come up with today, like a waggle, waggle, waggle. There we go. Anyway, and they fall off. And they fall off. You get pulled into DOT. There's your ticket. You got to have that. Plus, you need this here to protect your vehicle, so it's not getting damaged by rocks and shit that you're, excuse me my language, and stuff that you're kicking up here. So what I do is I drill a hole through the mud flap on both sides, one hole on each side. Then I have baling wire that where is my baling wire? Here it is. We're going to make this the highlight of the show, the baling wire. Okay, the baling wire, you get any truck supply, bomb guards, whatever. And I always buy the covered stuff, the insulated stuff, because although it does rust a little bit, it doesn't rust. I mean, I've had this a long time, and that's all the rusting that's going on, and it's probably rusting because it's resting on other baling wire that I've picked up, like this stuff right here, and then it could be rust. That could just be rust from there. So baling wire is your friend, okay? And so then I noticed some other things as I'm working. So this tail light that they have on here, they have these two nails right here. I don't know if you can see those nails. They got nails right there, and that's all that's holding this on is the heads of those nails. And then they did bolt this down real tight, but you can see how it's kind of angled, like that could just slap off. So I wrapped a wire around that twice, tied it up, so that if this does come loose, this wire is going to hang on to it, keep it up against there. So same way on this side, saw these little nails, how they have it down there. And so I went ahead and I wired it on through here, up and around twice, tied it down. And so this now, just been working on this. The same thing here, drilled holes, wrapped some baling wire around it, and there you go. And I'm just gonna leave that baling wire on there when I get there. I'm not gonna remove that, just leave it on, because it isn't worth, as cheap as you get baling wire, it's not worth cutting that off and saving it. So just leave it there. I'll probably save these longer ones because I can use them for something. So I'll either cut them or or take these off and then roll them up and throw them next to the baling wire. Okay, so that's that. And not many of these have this on the back. This is the wire harness. This is the wiring for the tail lights, brake lights. It is a 7-way round plug-in. You see them often. I'm going to walk over this way to this Mac, and you're going to, oh, wait, this doesn't have it. There it is, the black Mac. Let me go over to the black Mac. So we're going to go over to the black Mac here, and it's going to have a 5th wheel on it. So it's going to have a 5th wheel on it, and the wire plug-in is right there where that green one is, okay? And so you can make a wire plug-in to plug into those. And then, of course, you got to have, you know, some an extended wire, which you can buy 25 feet of roll of wire and roll the wire all the way out and just wire tie it to things like here, you know, this wire tie it down, and then have a plug-in on the other end so you can plug your car in. So this way, with these vehicles, you are not tapping in to the wires. A lot of people like to tap into these wires with connectors and stuff. Some people have gone out and actually gotten this connector, but it's not needed if it has that up there. You can have the universal connector. Here's a truck right here that did not have that plug-in. So on this one, I would have to wire in onto these wires here, and all 5 wires have to be done. So I need to get my hand on this connector. I'm looking, but they're tough to find. So anyway, this one has the 7-way round. So I have a 7-way round. I use it a lot. This one here is a 7-way round, and what you do is you buy those at truck stops. You go to a truck stop, they sell it just like this, no wire. And then this black box. You gotta have the black box, and here's why. This is a 5-wire setup on the braking. The red wire down here is going to be your stoplight. Green right turn, yellow left turn. So they're going to be separate. It's not going to be the same bulb. It comes out as just yellow and green, but this box makes it to where you can hit your brakes and have a brake light on the green and have the yellow blinking. You just wire it in here, and it's self-explanatory. Matter of fact, if you look closely at this top, you can see the words. So the wires just have to match each word. Red, yellow, white, brown, okay, and green. And so when you get this done, if you have this device and you have this connector, you could push this in till it locks down. And then I wire this up so it's not swinging, wearing the wires out. And now I can leave this hang off here. And when I get done hooking it up and I want to hook up my lighting, I just plug it in my 4-wire plug, and I am set to go. So these are things that I recommend everybody to do their trucks. Everybody does their own work. You work the way you want to work. I get it. This is what I do. Yes, it takes me time to do it, but it's worth every second. You know, saving somebody's life, saving damage to my vehicle, you know, whatever it is, you know, it's worth it. It's like a fire extinguisher. You have it, you're not going to have a fire. You don't have it, and you're like, there's a fire, where's the extinguisher? I don't know. How many times have we heard that go on? So I'm going to pause the video because now I'm going to hook up my receiver. Bought this receiver in Indiana, and this receiver right here, I'll touch it, bloop, this little rusty thing. I've had it for many years. Works really great. And I'm going to hook this receiver up, and as I work on it, I'll turn it on and I'll highlight some things. And what I'm going to do, my goal is to hook it up to the bottom of this frame right here. And this frame is doubly thick frame here, which is really nice that it's 2 pieces of metal. This is a really heavy truck. Probably going to be some roll-off for a roll-off garbage company or something. But either way, I won't have to put extra metal. I actually have 2-inch angle iron and 2-inch flat iron that I could put on here and make this thicker, so when I mount my thing on and clamp my bolts down, it doesn't bend the frame. So it's something I do. I won't have to do it to this. If you ever see a frame bending, just go down to a welding shop and say you just need a 2-inch piece of flat metal, and have them cut it at 7 inches or something like that, or 8 inches. And that'll give you enough pounds per square inch across there to where you won't bend the metal on those light duty box trucks that sometimes you hook up to. All right, I'm going to pause. I wanted to say one more thing about the wiring hookup. Sometimes you'll be doing a bucket truck. I do bucket trucks or electrician trucks, and I'll have that same plug-in, but they only need 4 wires. So you could buy this on the internet, 7 wire, 7 to 4. I bought this one 7 to 4. You can see there's only 4 things there. There's 4 in the back. I could plug this in, and I could plug my lighting in. Will not work on this truck because you have to have that 5th brake wire wired in. You got to have this box here to go to 4, so you can do this on some vehicles. In some vehicles you have to have that. So I just wanted to point that out. All right, so we're going to talk about my receiver and why I love this receiver, okay? These are the things you want to look out for. So on this particular one, the truck sits a little high. My car is a little low. I need to have it drop down. So I have it in the position I need to have it in, going down. But as you can see, my end caps are in the wrong direction. And the last truck I did, I was able to hook it up like that and just come straight out. It was actually a school bus, went straight into my car and went right underneath the bumper, and it worked really well, and I had to use less attachments. So that's what it's about, okay? So, but this one, I have to drop it down a little bit. And so this these end caps right here are gonna have to be removed and spun around. And actually what I do is I'm a little OCD. I'm not, but I am. And you see how the tight down nuts are the same all the way down. So I'll take this one here and put it on that side, on the other side, and I'll take that one and put it on this side. And then of course I'll have them switched where the bolts are pointing down instead of out at me. And they will look the same. And well, anyway, that's what I'm going to do. In case you notice, I did that. I do want to show you something that you can really see here. If you look at this one, you can see it's kind of spreading out there. And the reason why this side is spreading out is I was over tightening. You really need to get a torque wrench. I'll show you that when I get on. But you do not want to tighten these until something breaks or bends. Okay, so you want to torque these out. So I'm going to move these caps into position, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gotten the first end cap off, and notice that the bolts are a little rusty, and they're very hard to get out. I just use a little DeWalt drill that I have. You can do it by hand, but they're really seizing up in there. And so there's a little stuff called anti-seize. I bought Permatex this time. I buy the big jar because I use it a lot. It doesn't go bad. So what I'm gonna do is it's got a brush in. I'm gonna brush it in on this, and I'm gonna screw them in. I'm gonna brush it in on those threads on the inside, and I'm gonna screw them out, and I'm gonna do this back and forth until it moves smooth. Because if I ever take this off, I don't want to break one of these if it's froze up. So that's where I'm at. And so I just wanted to point that out, that I'm going to put some anti-seize on here. I do have some on this, and they move really nice. I do have to do those. I don't very rarely have to move these around, and that's why they kind of seize up and get rusty. So little anti-seize prevents that. So there we have it. I've got them switched around where the bolts are pointing down, where I want to tighten them up right here. Where I want to tighten them right here. All right, and the top, this right here will be on top, and I have it pointed down like I want them. And anti-seize is like glitter. I forgot to mention that. You get it all over you. You can't get rid of it. So you got to be real careful when you're handling anti-seize. Otherwise, you'll get it on your clothes. You'll be in your car, and it's difficult to get rid of sometimes. So I was real careful. I wore gloves, and And so I got this on, and I just wanted to mention a couple of things about the anti-seize. You got to be careful with it. And so now, like I said, this is what I love about this one. They're pointed the same direction, and I'll be able to mount this on and have my drop down piece drop down. And torque wrench. Okay, first, you don't have to have something this big. This is very big. This particular, I'll put my hand in there, my glove in there, so you see how long this is a 1/2-inch drive ratchet. And then I took a piece of pipe. I should have made it a little bit longer, helpful, but I use it as a cheetah bar, so I put my sockets on there, and then I put it inside like that, make it a cheetah bar, and then I can loosen the bolts up. But when I tighten them down, and you ain't gonna be able to unloosen them regularly because they kind of seize up after they're tightened down. After I tighten them down, and I use a torque wrench, or after I get them put back together, I use a torque wrench to tighten them down. This is the tool to have. Otherwise, your mine looks like this, perfect on this side. This side's spreading because I was over tightening. Okay, so there we go. So torque wrench prevents that. Set for 100 foot-pounds. You tighten it down, doesn't come loose. So you tighten down. Here, this one's loose. You tighten down this nut first, and then when you get that tightened to 100, then you tighten this one down to 100, and it's locked in and it ain't coming off. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to set this up right now. This piece, this slides in through here, and it's too wide now, but I'll take these nuts loose, slide it down, and mount it in. Then you'll see the finished product here in a minute. Well, I originally started this video to show you the do's and don'ts of getting stuff at Mac or someplace where they do cab chassis and stuff. And so I'm going into my hookup because there's a lot of good things about the knowledge about the hookup that you should know, so you don't run into any problems down the road. So here's some of the problems I ran into. So this is a drop down piece that I had purchased from the same guy I bought this. It was made just 1/4-inch steel, and I had a stinger on it, coming out from underneath the truck, a piece of tube coming out from underneath the truck, and making turns in and out of driveways and stuff. I managed to bend it, twist it. So I went back, bought another one, and this one I had him put in another 1/4-inch piece of steel and then hammer it in there, and then he welded this thing on. So about that, somebody was walking by, so I thought I would just pause. So anyway, I put another 1/4-inch piece of steel in here, goes all the way through. He welded it in so it won't move, and then he drilled the holes, and you can really see how thick that metal is in there now. It's 1/2-inch thick. So this thing, I haven't yet to twist it, and I've had some pretty long stingers on it, and it's worked pretty good. It does come with what we call a lock nut on the back side. This does. I had another one added because this thing not only goes like this, goes all over, and that goes for down here on this piece. Did not have anything, so I had this one added and this one added. And so when I'm done, when I'm done tightening it down, and you don't really have to tighten it that tight. You just got to stop the movement. So that's it. That's all you need. The lockdown nut you want to put on some torque, get that thing locked in so it doesn't move. But there we go. And so now this thing won't move. Now there's one on the back that I'm going to do also, because I don't want it going in and out like this. And tightening the back one will lock that in, and with the weight of my car, it won't move it in and out. Same thing down here on this piece. I'll tighten this down, give it a little snug, then I'll tighten down the lock nut, and I'll give it a snug, and so now this is not going to move. Another thing that I want to point out that I did is, I don't know if you noticed, but I do not have a ball on the back of mine. I have what they call a pintle. The pins had worn out, and I put new ones on. I've had this thing a lot of years. So the pintle has you have a ring on your car, and it goes inside the pintle. And the benefit of that is that you can eyeball it and say that looks level, but in the reality it's not. It might be a little high, might be a little low, and you can run the risk of popping your ball off if you get too extreme of an angle. So I went with Pintle. I've had zero problems, nothing but good things to say about it. It just works really well for me. So I'm just putting this on. I'm eyeballing up. That's it. I'm not going to measure. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to swing that out, hook it up, see what it's at. It could be pointing a little down. It could be pointing a little up. It won't matter to me. I could have even maybe just came straight out and have it pointing way up. But the straighter it is, the safer it is. So that's why I put this piece, this drop down piece in here, to get it a little bit straighter instead of having it pointing up real high. And so anyway, yeah, we're done as far as I'm concerned. Here's one of my stingers. I did the same thing to this stinger. I had him take a piece of 1/4 inch steel, shove it all the way through here, weld it in, and drill the holes again. This has not bent since I've done that. Now that square tubing, although it's only 1/4 inch, I think is stronger than this is, and I've never bent that either. And then I permanently mounted it, had 2 holes drilled through, and bolted it permanently. And the reason why I did that is because the deeper this thing is in, the less wobbles it has, and 2 bolts prevent it from wobbling even more. And it takes 2 bolts take it out even more. It takes a lot of the wobble out. And then I strap it to where I carry my stuff, and I leave it there until I need it. This is my lift gate. If I ever do a box truck with a lift gate, I need this long stinger to get out from underneath that lift gate and hook up to my car. So you want it to be as strong as possible. So, you know, that is it. How you hook up your lights is how you hook up your lights. Mine are magnetic on the back, and I run the wire through, shut it in the door, shut it in the hood, have it come down. I don't let it drape over the car. I shut it inside the door. I shut it, put it under the hood, then shut the hood and have it come out the hood, and then I hook it up. And that's about it. This is one of my favorite places to come to get them hooked up. And hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. And if you have any questions, you could just send me a message, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. And you guys have a fantastic day. Be safe out there.